That's it. Hello guys, welcome to Major's Carriage. My name is Suellio Almeida. I'm the coach for Formula 1, Formula 3 and Formula 3.5 cars. And today we're gonna see my lap here with the medium tires, full tank, no DRS at Spa for the second week of the official series. So we're gonna watch the very first lap. It was not a perfect lap, it's just a good reference. Setup felt amazing during all the stint, and that's what really matters. It was fast and stable. Maybe if you want, you can play a little bit with the differential settings. If you want the car to rotate a little bit more on the higher speed corners, to change the high speed differential. If you want the car to be a little bit more punchy on exits, with a little bit more over shear on lower speed corner exits, then you change the mid entry. Not mid-entry, the mid differential, not the entry one. The entry one I generally like to leave at 1. But yeah, let's go straight to the first lap and let's watch it. Alright, this was a 144.0. I would say we can probably do a 143 mids, 143 highs consistently during the stints. Alright, now let's go back to the lap and we're going to talk a little bit about what I think about in the cornering. So, right for the first corner, what I do is right in between the end of the little dirt here. You see we have some dirt here, it's a little bit dirty, and then here we have some skid marks. So I'm basically using somewhere in between those 2 points to start my braking. So you can see my peak pressure is right in between those, so not really at the skid marks. If you do that, it's gonna be a little bit too late. Then really wait until the car stops before you turn in. As you can see, I'm releasing my brakes as the speed goes down because we lose downforce. So the peak is very, very aggressive, and then it goes down, 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 down as the speed goes down. All of that on a straight line, guys. Still not even starting to turn in yet. Then as we get slowed down enough, you can see that I generally don't use it. I do it by feel, but sometimes just to check, I can see that I'm using a little bit of this dirty part. I'm touching that part, that dirty part, you see, as a reference for turn-in. If you turn a little bit too early, you don't use it. So it's good to have that, and then we want to be as close as possible to the wall, really like rotating as much as we can, and then getting a good, very careful exit because, well, just because this car is very powerful and you don't want to get too much wheel spin on exit. So as you can see, my power is really patient. Even though I am super patient, I got a little bit of oversteer there. Then, oh, who is nothing to talk about. We just go flat out. It's super easy. And then for this one, I'm using a little bit of the curb. I'm braking from 8th to 5th, so 3 downshifts, and then you turn in. We want to use the second layer here. We just want to show you guys something very interesting here. the curb itself is off camber. As you can see how it's going down to the left. So here we have the intersection between the curb and the track, and the track itself is cambered. Then we have the off camber on the curb, and then we have kind of a flat part on the second layer of the curb. That means we want really to avoid the actual red and white curb, and we want to put one tire on the second layer and the other tire on the track. That will really pull the car. So the car is gonna be like on rails, cornering to the right here, and then on the change of direction we have absolutely the same thing here. So as you can see, camber on the second layer, off camber on the first layer. So we want to avoid the first layer. As you can see, actually I missed it on this first lap here. I was still warming up. As you can see, I got it, but a little bit with the tire. We can actually use a lot more, and that probably took me like half a tenth or a tenth. But then on the change of direction, I was able to use this one. So boom, the car gets I could use probably a tiny bit more, in a way that you touch this little grass here at the end of it. It's totally fine to do that. That really puts the car in a very good position for the next corner. And then this one, we are almost going flat out. On my setup, I'm doing slight lifts just to make sure the car is really balanced, and you can really see that the car is hanging on slight and healthy over here all the way to the exit. And then here we can actually use a lot more of this green, but I got away with using this one, which means I could probably be a little bit more aggressive on the throttle. So make sure you just slightly touch the dirt on the way back. You can see these marks here. This is actually when I was just warming up, and I actually did that line. So this is the line that we want to do. Just slightly touch this dirt here on the way back. Be careful, of course, if you use it too much, you will get an off track. Then here, I generally, well, after driving the entire stint, I noticed that staying on 6th is going to be the best thing here, because as soon as you start braking, you already have the engine braking from 6th, and you will save the tires from one more downshift. Downshifting is bad for the tires in terms of like heat. It really stresses the tire a little bit. So if you can downshift in a place where you're not really cornering, or if you can avoid one downshift by staying on the other gear and then just braking from 6th and downshifting to 3rd all the way to the corner, that's going to be better. So not too hard braking. We're kind of on a long trail braking, and then basically as soon as you get the tires to lock here on the inside, the front tires will almost always micro lock, because they're almost not even in contact with the track anyways. So as you can see at this point, I'm coasting, because any braking would make the car micro lock. So I was, of course, I'm not coasting for a long time. You can see I'm trail braking, still. Okay, I coast for like 0.3 of a second, and then I get back on power already. Rotate the car with the power. Don't be afraid of using this here, because you will have time to come back and then prepare the no-name corner. So on the no-name corner, just make sure you use the second layer, maybe even the dirt here on the track, on the after the curb on the inside. Then also make sure you're not putting all 4 tires on the green. You can see that I am having just a tiny bit there still on the drain and on the curb, which prevents me from getting an off track. And on the way back, you can go back gently and touch this dirt here, no big deal. Then we go to Pouhon. On the first laps, it's kind of possible to do it flat out. On dirty air, definitely not. But I was happy with lifting just slightly, so I could make sure that I was getting a good exit, and that I was not like getting in like a bad position by abusing the curb here. And also this saves you a tiny bit of tire, just a tiny bit. If you lift almost nothing, you barely lose any time, but you just make sure that the car is on the right track, the right line. Then coming into pit path, I like to use just a tiny bit supporting the curb here, and then we want to carry lots of speed into this corner. We want to be careful not to go too much to the left in this change of direction here, because we want to change direction to the next left-hander and already have a very good line. Here we are not braking for the next one, we're just doing a little slight lift. And again, here we have the same thing. So this is actually going to be a little bit more specific. On this one, We can use it, but you have to be aware that especially towards the second half of the stint, if you use it aggressively, you may get an oversteer that may result in a spin. So just make sure that when you're using this curb, you are aware of how much rotation you have. Just make sure you try to settle the rears. Don't really try to rotate aggressively with lots of throttle over this curb, because I actually almost spun here and lost lots of time. Then here, same thing, just have 2 tires on the drain or on the curb. You get the 4 tires on this greenish here, or touch the dirt, you get an off track. And here, as you can see, I'm using all the curb, and then light brake. We don't have to brake too hard, and then we already want to change to carry lots of speed to the exit, because this is going to be the longest straight of the track. So we want to really get back on power very aggressively and use all of the green here. Same thing, if you touch the dirt just slightly, you will get an off track. Even if you think about getting the dirt here and you're actually with 4 tires on the green but not really touching the dirt, that is also an off track. So just make sure you pay attention to that, especially when qualifying. Here it's easy, just make sure you don't scrub the fronts when you're turning to the right there. Also blanchiment, super easy, nothing we need to talk about here. And last corner, we're braking some cars, maybe 3 to 4 cars before the curb. You can always use the little dirt here as a reference, but I'm using somewhere between the beginning of the dirt and the beginning of the curb. But I'm really finding a lot more reliable to just use the curb and you kind of calculate how far the car is, which is a little bit tricky for a fast car like that, but it's doable. As you can see, more or less where I brake, that's here. And then wait, downshift a lot. You have to wait and wait for the car to stop. And then on 3rd gear, start turning in. And then on 2nd gear, I want to turn in more. Of course, I start turning on 3rd. Then I need more rotation 2nd. Then if I still need more rotation, I go to 1st. Sometimes I get enough rotation, so I don't really have to downshift to 1st. Most times I was actually kind of always almost missing the corner. So I was getting to 1st so I could get that final rotation that I needed. And then go to 2nd. I'm very, very early already, like here. Back to 2nd, because if you just stay on 1st, it's gonna be a little bit too complicated to get back on power in between the corners. Then change direction, wait, and very patient on the throttle application. Just make sure that you don't put all 4 tires on the green. Actually, I was pretty safe here. I had lots of room to use. Again, guys, this was one of my first laps on the new setup that I made for this. It's feeling amazing after all the adjustments that I did, and that is it. The setup is available on Major's Garage. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you next week. Thank you. Bye bye.